Welcome to today's NBA schedule preview. Very busy Wednesday night of action around the NBA with 12 games on tap. Which four can you find in-depth preview NBA betting coverage on SBR? Take a look. The game of the night is the latest starting one as the arch-rival Clippers and Warriors face off in Oakland. These clubs don't like one another and met in contingent's playoff series last season. The Warriors open as slight favorites on NBA odds, all-time Easterns. Heat at Hornets, covered by Scott. First, we begin with a 7 p.m. tip. That's the second of a back-to-back for both Miami and Charlotte. The Heat played a big one at home Tuesday night against Houston, while the Hornets were in New Orleans. Thus, both clubs had to travel to Charlotte, could make for a sloppy affair indeed. Miami-Charlotte has been the NBA's most lopsided rivalry, with the Heat winning 20 straight games. Of course, the vast majority of all those were when Miami was a superpower with LeBron James and Charlotte was a bad team named the Bobcats. Charlotte did play Miami very competitively in the first round of last year's playoffs, even thought it was a sweep. You know, those players want to end this embarrassing skid even if LeBron is no longer around. Key injuries to watch here to affect those NBA odds: Miami's Chris Anderson, Adonis Haslem, and Charlotte's Michael Kidd-Hillcrest. Because of questions surrounding those players' availability, mainly MKG, who missed Tuesday's game, there was no overnight line posted on this matchup. Pacers at Wizards, covered by Dave Golokoff. It's the first game of ESPN's national TV doubleheader with an 8 p.m. tip from Washington, D.C., when the Pacers visit the Wizards, with Washington opening as an 11-point favorite on BetOnline's NBA odds. These teams met in a very competitive Eastern Conference semifinal series last season, with the Pacers beating Washington in 6 games. However, both clubs are very different now, as Indiana is without injured star Paul George all season and lost Lance Stevenson to free agency. The Wizards, meanwhile, remain without injured rising star guard Bradley Beal for at least a few more weeks. It's the second of a back-to-back for both teams, as Indiana hosted Milwaukee on Tuesday and Washington visited the Knicks. Cavaliers at Jazz, covered by Joe Catalano. We shift west for possible trap game tip-off at 9 p.m. for Cleveland on Wednesday in Salt Lake City. The Jazz are just 1-3, but they have played a very difficult schedule in Houston, Dallas, Phoenix, the lone win, and the LA Clippers. The Jazz will be plenty rested and not having played since Monday. However, it's the second of a tough back-to-back for the Cavaliers after playing at Portland on Tuesday. The Blazers run teams ragged as it is. Then having to fly to Utah and play 24 hours later at altitude, that's a challenge. However, Cleveland opened as a 7.5-point favorite at sportsbooks. Clippers at Warriors, covered by Scott. We complete our trip around the NBA with the marquee matchup between the Clippers and the Warriors, which tips at 10:30 p.m. and will be shown in ESPN. These teams usually play very high-scoring tilts, and the opening total is 210.5 on NBA odds, is easily the highest of any game Wednesday. LA star point guard Chris Paul had the NBA's first triple-double of the season in Monday's win over Utah. Golden State, meanwhile, has looked like perhaps the NBA's best team thus far at 3-0. Klay Thompson leads the NBA in scoring at 29.7 points per game. Golden State hasn't had starting power forward David Lee yet this year due to a hamstring injury, but he hopes to debut in this one. The Warriors and Clippers split 4 regular season meetings last year, each sweeping at home. That's all for now. I'll see you back tomorrow. For SBR Picks, this is Nadja Holtz.
The SBR Network offers free sports picks and game breakdowns, big money free betting contests year-round, a real-time Vegas-style odds monitoring service, and much more. So come see for yourself. To stay updated on SBR news and promotions, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+, and do be sure to subscribe to the Sportsbook Review YouTube channel to catch all our daily sports shows.